So wanted to walk through a couple examples of crowdsourcing in action. Want to walk you guys through actually a couple things that were sparked due to the conversations that we had at Ignite this year. I did a couple demos. Every person that came up to me asked one simple question, and I actually posed it on the community. But before we get there, let's talk about what the community looks like. The best way to do that is just show it to you. So when I was thinking about doing this webinar, we wanted to do a quick highlight of some of the things that we identified thanks to the community. Now, this is something that came up thanks to one of our customers that reported about it about a couple days, 18 days ago. And it looks like there could be a case where effectively when you make a commit from Panorama, if there are any number of services exceeding the platform's capacity, it will fail to run the commit and it will throw this error at you. Now, I'm not quite the pan expert here, and it looks like Brad added a lot of context to the situation. Brad, would you mind sharing what you discovered?
Definitely, Charles. So today, what I found out here basically is that today, parsing the configuration file and counting the number of entries seems like it's really the only way to get that information. And that would provide the value of your current configuration, but it really doesn't show you what the limit is itself. So it's somewhat surprising that you can see that information in a commit, but they don't have something automatically creating that information for you with like a show system info or show system limits as a new command suggestion, I guess. It's, like I said, it's calculated on every commit, so it'd be much more helpful to know what your capacity limit is prior to doing a commit.
Got it. So this is interesting because cases like this definitely set enough precedence for our IKEs to take a look into it. And I'm really looking forward into seeing this in our platform very soon, actually. Now, wanted to talk really briefly about something that we ran into a lot at the on site, actually. So I did a bunch of demos on site as normally, as one of the sponsors. And every time I explained what Indeni did and what is the value behind it, everyone kept asking me, can we track CRC errors? And I was pretty surprised because I thought that's such a rudimentary thing to look into. So I did some quick research and I found this article directly from the live community. And I thought it was really interesting because outside of getting a MIP file telling you if any packets were discarded for any reason, the only way to actually collect and identify when there are CRC errors happening is to run this command. Now the command gives you some pretty good details, except for one problem here. Everything's in hex value. And I was actually surprised, so wanted to run this by you really quick. How important is it to track layer 1 errors, Brad?
So layer 1 errors and definitely CRC errors are indicative of some sort of problem, and especially if it's incrementing quickly. So if this occurs, you definitely want to address it before users start complaining. So I think we need to figure out how to monitor this. And I think maybe you have something to show us later on in the presentation here about that. So
yeah, actually, thanks for segueing it into it. So you're exactly right. We're going to show you in a little bit about the platform and what we've done with it. But it definitely makes sense why you would want to be able to track it. Now, you don't necessarily want to track if it's reached a certain threshold, and that you just mentioned it, I think, Brad, that you actually want to see if it's starting to increment quickly. So you're not looking for whether or not it reaches a certain count value. You want to know if the rate itself is increasing. And this actually makes it a very challenging thing to do because other than logging in, collecting the information here about every 1 minute or every whatever interval you want, you'd have to record this on an Excel sheet and then calculate the rate at which it's increasing, and then inform everyone else on your team that there's something wrong with this device. Now, I don't know about you, but doing this for every device for the same command is painful. And I immediately wanted to see if we could take this on and simulate it really quick. And so that's exactly what I did. We got this information from the community. And by the community, I mean people that were at the Ignite conference that signed up actually recently, as well as what we've talked about here. But we collected all this information, loaded it up, determined how to write the knowledge to collect the data, load it onto the system, and we actually have it here to present really quick. So I want to show you a quick demo of the Indeni platform itself. What you're seeing is a quick dashboard telling you what's going on in your infrastructure. What I'm going to do is quickly navigate to the Palo Alto device itself. Now, as I mentioned before, you do want to know the raw values of the counters, but you also want to know the rate at which it's increasing. So what we do is we're actually collecting this in our database. We're checking the rate at which it's increasing, and we'll immediately inform the end user at what, if it's incrementing and at what rate. Now I'm going to go ahead and filter all my alerts over to the one that's specific here. And I want to show you what we've done here so far. We've been able to not only show you at what rate it's increasing, but tell you and very granularly tell you if it's a CRC error or if it's a bad MAC address. Now this information is now going to be bundled into Indeni. It's been crowdsourced through the community out there, and will be bundled into the platform, I would say a couple of weeks from now. And that's the value of Indeni, the perks of crowdsourcing this knowledge. We're finding out front-end line from customers that run into this regularly, problems like this, where there might be a support oracle, but it's extremely manual and painstaking to track. And we take on that challenge of automating that whole process of identifying risks for our end users. So to do a quick summary, I want to show you this little slide here that we use often. And it's this little infinity loop of this crowdsourcing cycle. You first start with an idea, and you collaborate. From there, once we realize that there's something worth putting together in the system, we begin coding and building it and determining if it's ready for production. As soon as that's all ready, we bundle it in a new release, update it onto the system, which we do about every 2 to 3 weeks, and deploy it onto our customers' environments. And immediately after after the update's been done, we'll execute these new scripts or these new knowledge scripts and analyze the information for any additional risks that we've identified thanks to this whole collaboration. It all just started with an idea. And by the way, it's interesting because the more we analyze the risks that we're running into on these devices, the more we find out that there's other things that we could leverage in Indeni to identify and build new releases for. So it's this endless cycle, and as Brad mentioned, a lot of these posts get escalated into a new build release on our platform. So there you have it. You can easily contribute to this collaborative approach to IT automation by, first of all, joining the Indeni crowd. And you can either report an issue, talk about issues that you're running into with your firewalls, routers, or switches. You can provide help by answering any questions or any of the issues that have been posted on there already. You can give better resolution steps, or maybe provide an idea of how we can write an automation script for it. And through it all, you can earn rewards for Indeni swag or vouchers for IT training or IT certification classes.